Welcome, everyone, to Beers with Jesus. Carrie's here. I'm here.
Cheers.
Todd's World. We're
Cheers,
here
Todd.
every week. How's it going,
Cheers,
Carrie?
Jesus. Going great. How about you?
Good.
Better than last week.
Yeah, you seem like you're in better spirits than last week.
So much better.
Last week was Carrie's flu game,
I was on the verge of death last week.
and it did get worse. You said we better get this recorded because it's going to get worse, and it did for a few days, right?
It did. Yeah, that night I had a bad fever, and the next day my boys and I were talking, and they were like, there's stuff I just didn't even remember. They were like, Mom, you were so out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like drifting in and out of consciousness by the end of the day.
And they had the flu too, right? Like it
Yeah.
through the whole house.
They were before me. I thought I was in the clear.
Boy.
But
you would think as
we're
a
fine.
co-host of Beers with Jesus on Todd's World, you'd just be out there healing everybody.
I know, right? Instead, I have to go through some suffering.
You're dealing with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You guys do anything special for like the approach of cold and flu season?
No,
No? You don't do anything? You
nothing.
don't gargle or
Nothing.
take vitamin C?
I don't take any flu shots.
No flu shots, but like natural stuff.
Mm-mm.
No?
I mean, if I start to feel something coming on, sometimes what's that crap you drink? Like it's like
Emergency?
those kinds of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Airborne or something. It's the stuff that
Yeah.
you put in a glass of water and you drink it or whatever.
Exactly.
I still rarely do it. It would be like if one of my kids is sick or something.
Okay. You do it as an extra guard.
But even then, I rarely think about it. I find that
Okay, that's cool.
I find in the great state of Michigan that cannabis is our best preventive.
Oh my gosh. There you go.
Joints with Jesus.
It works for you.
I'm just kidding.
I
Calm
don't know
down,
how well
guys.
that would. Okay. Yeah.
No,
Calm
I
down.
think.
Tell your church to calm down.
Tell my church to calm. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about my church this week. Just a little. I think it fits in a little bit with what Peter's dealing with here.
Yeah.
With some of the
Mention
stuff
that. I'm looking
that I've been
forward to it.
dealing with. So, yeah, should be fun. We on here, guys.
Mhm.
We're recording right now on Labor Day.
Yep.
And it'll drop Wednesday this week, probably.
Hope y'all had a happy holiday weekend.
Yeah. I've had
End
a great
of
weekend.
summer.
I've just been straight chilling all weekend. I didn't schedule anything. I didn't go anywhere.
Nice.
Just hitting the grill, having some beers,
Very nice.
lounging outside.
No more white pants after today.
That's what they say. I didn't wear white pants all summer, so I didn't know.
Okay.
Seersucker suits.
I'm trying to picture you in a seersucker suit.
I would wear a seersucker suit like if I had the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
I've never had the occasion.
Okay.
I'm not quite so I'm not out east with all the moneyed types.
No, I don't know how much seersucker we see in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's probably true. Do you get that down south? You don't get it down south much, or do you?
I mean, if you went to like a
little.
Yeah, a wedding, sort of like a garden kind of wedding, maybe.
College football started this weekend. Did you watch your Wolverines?
I did not watch it, but did they win?
They won. Yeah, they won pretty easily. I don't think they played like New Mexico State or somebody.
Okay,
New Mexico, maybe.
Wasn't someone I knew really
Nobody
well.
that was a big. That was a tough game.
Did State play this weekend too?
Nah, I think so. I think they won. I haven't been paying. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch much. I turned on Ohio State and Texas for just a little bit, and then I was like, it's too nice outside. I don't care about this.
Yeah,
so I
know. Outside. It's kind of like I have to ease into football season. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's a great game, it was kind of boring. It wasn't, it was just what it was.
The big football news in the SEC is Florida State beat Alabama.
Beat the crap out of Roll Tide. Yeah.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, people were like freaking out.
That was in Tallahassee, wasn't it? That game, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird too because Florida State was coming off like a 2-10 season. They weren't very good last year, and but with the new NIL in college football, you just buy yourself a whole new team every year. It's great.
Yep, if the budget's there. It's so terrible.
But that's what it is. So
ridiculous.
The new landscape of college football. I guess we have to enjoy it.
I hate that. I hate it. I object. No one's listening to me, but there it is.
We do the Wildly Opinionated News Hour too. That dropped yesterday.
Mhm.
And then to check it out, if you haven't, check out toddsworld.net. That's where we have all our merch. My books are at Amazon or on Amazon.
Yeah.
Under Todd Allen, you've got Leaves the Blue Way, 9 Mile Point, Insurrection Witness, some fun stuff out there. So, yeah, that's all.
I highly recommend the books.
Catch us up at Todd's World. I'm thinking about
And the shirts are
I've got a
fun.
new short story in the works. I might put it out here in a
Do
little bit. We'll
you?
see. Yeah. Finally. It's been
Ooh.
like a year. I've been on
You're busy.
hiatus. Yeah, I know.
You're busy.
I'm
You have your
anxious
hands
though to
full.
write a little something. I thought, short stories sometimes are good things to kind of grease the wheels.
That's cool.
You can be
Very
in it for
nice.
a week or two and just kind of play around and have some fun. And
I like it.
so, yeah, I'm
I look
excited.
forward. That's awesome.
And on this show on Beers with Jesus, guys, we walked through the story of of Jesus. Right now we're in the book of Acts. We started in the book of Mark, went
Mhm.
all through the book of Mark, took our time, as many might realize if you look at all the podcast.
We are really cruising through Acts right now.
We are cruising through Acts. Acts is going pretty fast. We're on Acts 11 today. And again, I think we'll probably do the whole chapter today. Look at
Oh
us
my
go.
gosh.
It just
You're
kind of
so
fits together,
you're so ambitious. Are we really at 11?
We are at 11. We did 10 last week, which was Peter's vision with Cornelius. And the
Okay.
front half of 11, a lot of 11 is rehashing that
Oh, yeah,
story.
you said that. That's right. You
So
said that.
we'll deal with that and then the
It's like
rest of the chapter.
kinda like the books, in the previous episode.
Yeah. It's like,
Little recap.
yeah. So I'll read. It's my
Okay.
turn to read today, and
Okay.
I'll start with Acts 11. I don't know. Maybe I'll read the whole thing. It's not that long. We'll see. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to start with verse 1. Read the message only because the message is the best. So,
Todd's favorite.
this is Acts 11, verse 1. God has broken through. The news traveled fast, and in no time, the leaders and friends back in Jerusalem heard about it. Heard that the non Jewish outsiders were now in. When Peter got back to Jerusalem, some of his old associates, concerned about circumcision, called him on the carpet. Sorry, I lost my place. What do you think you're doing, rubbing shoulders with that crowd, eating what is prohibited and ruining our good name? So Peter, starting from the beginning, laid it out for them step by step. Recently, I was in the town of Joppa praying. I fell into a trance and saw a vision. Something like a huge blanket lowered by ropes at its four corners came down out of heaven and settled on the ground in front of me. Milling around on the blanket were farm animals, wild animals, reptiles, birds. You name it, it was there. Fascinated, I took it all in. Then I heard a voice. Go to it, Peter. Kill and eat. I said, Oh no, master. I've never so much as tasted food that wasn't kosher. Peter was a good Jew. And, Jews have their own dietary laws. And so
Yeah.
he hadn't strayed outside those laws. He's a good Jew. Hadn't eaten anything that wasn't kosher. It was real important to him too. So, um, he says, Oh no, master, I've never so much as tasted food that wasn't kosher. Then the voice spoke again. If God says it's okay, it's okay. This happened 3 times, and then the blanket was pulled back up into the sky. Just then 3 men showed up at the house where I was staying, sent from Caesarea to get me. The Spirit told me to go with them, no questions asked. So I went with them, I and 6 friends, to the man who had sent for me. He told us how he had seen an angel right in his own house, real as his next door neighbor, saying, Send to Joppa and get Simon, the one they call Peter. He'll tell you something that will save your life. In fact, you and everyone you care for. So I started in, talking. Before I'd spoken half a dozen sentences, the Holy Spirit fell on them just as he did on us the first time. I remembered Jesus' words, quote, John baptized with water, you will be baptized with the Holy Spirit. So I ask you, if God gave the same exact gift to them as to us, When we believed in the Master Jesus Christ, how could I object to God? Hearing it all laid out like that, they quieted down. And then, as it sank in, they started praising God. It's really happened. God has broken through to the other nations, opened them up to life. Those who had been scattered by the persecution triggered by Stephen's death traveled as far as Phoenicia, Cyprus, and Antioch, but they were still only speaking and dealing with their fellow Jews. Then some of the men from Cyprus and Cyrene who had come to Antioch started talking to Greeks, giving them the message of the Master Jesus. God was pleased with what they were doing and put his stamp of approval on it. Quite a number of the Greeks believed and turned to the Master. When the church in Jerusalem got wind of this, they sent Barnabas to Antioch to check on things. As soon as he arrived, he saw that God was behind it all. He threw himself in with them, got behind them, urging them to stay with it the rest of their lives. He was a good man that way, enthusiastic and confident in the Holy Spirit's ways. The community grew large and strong in the Master. Then Barnabas went on to Tarsus to look for Saul. He found him and brought him back to Antioch. They were there a whole year meeting with the church and teaching a lot of people. It was in Antioch that the disciples were for the first time called Christians. It was about this same time that some prophets came to Antioch from Jerusalem. One of them, named Agabus, stood up one day and, prompted by the Spirit, warned that a severe famine was about to devastate the country. The famine eventually came during the rule of Claudius. So the disciples decided that each of them would send whatever they could to their fellow Christians in Judea to help out. They sent Barnabas and Saul to deliver the collection to the leaders in Jerusalem.
Good
There
job.
it is. Look at me go.
Look at you go.
What do you think, Carrie? Same story. Peter repeats it all for him. One of the reasons I didn't recap from last week is because I knew we were going to read the same thing again.
Peter does the full read. That's interesting because I don't feel like we see that a lot.
You don't see it a ton.
No.
You'll see references where it'll be like Peter told him about what happened wherever, but not where it goes into this much detail usually. You know?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of detail in here too. We kind of see, we've seen Barnabas and Saul, what's going on with them. So it's interesting to hear him refer to them and talk about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you ask what I think about this. I think with regard to the food,
you said everything last week.
God's approval. No, I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding.
No, side by side, the food, God's saying, okay, you believed this, but now it's new.
Right.
Now we have different rules. And I see that side by side with the different cultures.
Yeah.
Them before not wanting to talk to people outside of their own groups, and now they're breaking through that. So I just kind of feel like those can be compared here.
It was very representative too. Their dietary laws certainly were a big factor in what set them apart from other nations. It was at least an obvious one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They don't eat meat.
But it's also hard. Like, it's hard to break free of those
they're
things.
Not meat, pork.
I mean, right.
I was thinking of something I
was
thinking of something I saw on Facebook, and it was like this pig place that had like pulled pork and all this stuff, and they had a Ramadan special of a pulled pork sandwich for the Muslims.
Oh my gosh, no. Was that like a joke? It must have been like a joke, right?
Oh, it was funny.
Oh, wait. Do they not eat cow?
They don't eat pork.
Pork.
Hindus don't eat cows.
Hindus, okay.
Hindus regard cows as divine, I think.
Okay.
I don't exactly know, Hindus are kind of all over the place. They got they got a lot going on.
Okay.
Muslims are a little easier to like keep track of because they mostly just want to kill you and take over your country. So they're pretty simple. They're pretty direct.
Oh my gosh. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to break free of these. It's hard to break free of these restrictions, these divisions, these, limitations.
Well, they've held them all their life. That's all they've ever known.
Right. So I just realized this is big stuff to them.
Yeah.
Talking to the Greeks, some of the men from Cyprus and Cyrene started talking to the Greeks, giving them the message. It's like, that's a really big deal.
Mhm.
That's a big deal, that getting God's approval to eat these foods that were previously thought unclean is a very big deal. So it's just interesting how, like, everything's changing, expanding, it's new,
Yeah.
and those are big adjustments for the
And it's
people,
probably easier for
the
Peter because
followers.
Peter had the vision.
Right.
Peter had the experience. He watched the Holy Spirit fall on Cornelius and his family. Like,
Right.
he experienced it all. But then we get then it's kinda turning the perspective, and now we're getting the perspective of the church in Jerusalem. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it says the
Mhm.
news traveled fast, and in no time the leaders and friends back in Jerusalem heard about it. Heard that the non-Jewish outsiders were now in, and their first response is to be offended. Their first response is to call Peter on the carpet because they're concerned about circumcision. Now, this is
Mhm.
taking a step back even from the dietary laws. Circumcision goes all the way back to Abraham. It predates
Right.
the law even. And this was God's holy sign, the sign of his covenant with Abraham, what the
Mhm.
Jews then took to be his covenant with the Jews of circumcision. And it was extremely important
Mhm.
to the Jews, probably more important than the dietary laws. But the point is that the people in Jerusalem, the church leaders in Jerusalem,
Mhm.
they saw this, and the first thing they thought was, "Holy cow! If they're fixing to throw out if God's fixing to throw out the dietary laws, is he going to throw out everything? I mean, what is there going to be anything left of what we knew of this Jewish religion that we grew up with
Right. I mean, it's gotta
and
be
our
a little
Jewish Messiah?"
unsettling, right?
You know what I mean?
That they're, like, attached to these things.
Yeah,
You get attached to those things.
yeah,
Mhm. Well,
very attached.
and I think it's, your discernment plays a part as well, because I think you're kinda like, think if those things are challenged, you're like, "Is this actually from God?"
Well,
If
let's
it's
take some
something you believe wholeheartedly, do you
yeah,
trust it? Yeah.
take some big things. You're Catholic. What if
Mhm.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden God was like, I mean, through disciples, whatever, I
Yeah.
understand it's hard to make a perfect,
Well,
like,
let's just say
comparison, but
a
let's say he
priest.
threw out the rosary. He was like,
Right.
"Listen,
If
you've
a
been
priest
wrong
got up
about
there.
Mary this whole
Yep.
time," which I know, but Catholics don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I'm telling
that's a
you,
big thing, like, that rocks your world,
it
right?
would rock, yeah, it would rock a Catholic's world.
You'd start
Now,
to
it
think, well,
doesn't
if
change
we're
your
gonna lose
faith.
that, what else are we gonna lose?
Right, it doesn't change your faith, but it's like, this is how we practice.
Yeah, we keep some things sacred, and they're
Right.
sacred to us, and they're important. In the past,
Yeah.
we've seen these things. We've seen the rosary, whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, hymnals, whatever,
Yeah.
all the different things. In the
Right.
past, we've seen these ways in which God works, which we have somewhat institutionalized, but we've seen
Yes.
God work through them. We know He uses them,
Mhm.
and now you're just gonna toss that out like that's not part of it anymore?
Right.
Like, they didn't it was too
Yeah.
paradigm shifting for them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Um,
And
yeah.
I think it's
So
harder for us as American Christians to get it because we don't have any of the dietary stuff. We don't have any of the you know what I mean?
mhm. Right.
By and large.
I wonder if the Christians out there who are not okay with alcohol
That might
feel
be
that
one.
way feel that way about, because some of them feel really strongly about it,
Yeah, they feel
despite
like
the fact
it's
that there's wine drinking that happens in the Bible. For whatever reason, they have just latched onto alcohol is bad.
right.
It's wrong as a Christian to drink. So,
That's how I
I mean,
grew
I
up.
wonder
That's
if
how the
it's
church
kinda
I
like,
grew up in, my parents, that's how they were.
yeah, I just wonder if it's like that. For
I
a
think it's
Christian
like
who
that.
says, "It's okay to drink as long as you're not drinking to excess," I wonder if they're just like, "Yeah, no, I'm not comfortable with
And it really
that."
bothers the people when you start to like say you have in your family. It's not
Mhm.
always the case, but sometimes in
Yeah.
your family, maybe in your church or whatever, but you start to kind of open up, widen out a little bit in your things of faith. And
Mhm.
God, you start to walk into the freedom that God has for you. And that can make the people that you've grown up with, it could be family, it could be friends, like I said, it could be church, whatever, can make them really uncomfortable.
Sure.
And people generally don't like to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
We do seek comfort.
It's not what they're about.
Right.
They don't come to church to be uncomfortable.
No, not at all.
I mean, they really don't. They come to church to be comfortable.
Right.
We know what's going to happen. You're going to have the mass, you're going to have the reading, you're going to have a little smoke from the little things, whatever it is. You know, if you're a Catholic, if you're a Protestant, you're going to have your 3 songs, you're going to have, you know what I mean?
You're gonna have a
You're going to
30-minute
pass the
concert
offering
at the
plate
front of
and beg for money for a while if you're at the
Yeah.
right church. Whatever it is,
Yep.
maybe you'll have an invitation at the end. That's a big thing with Protestants, right? The old Billy Graham, like, raise your hand, come down.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
So
these things become, well, speaking of Hindus, sacred cows might be a good way to think of it. They do,
Sure.
right? They become real important to us.
Right.
And so these dietary laws for for the early church that's in Jerusalem, they never thought it was going to be anything except the Jewish faith kind of rekindled. Like Christ came and he's a Jewish Messiah.
Right.
And he's going to bring the kingdom. And they understood, they're starting to get that the kingdom's not exactly what they thought originally, but I think they still thought it was going to be full of Jews mostly.
You know,
You
it's
know what I
funny,
mean?
I'm so glad you brought that up, Todd, because we've talked all throughout Mark and so far through Acts about what a disruptor what a disruptor Jesus was
Yeah.
and how he really challenged these things. I don't think we have fully appreciated the fact that he was Jewish and that the Jewish people probably thought it was all going to stay the same
Oh,
and
yeah. His
stay
disciples
Jewish.
surely
I
did.
don't think we've really focused on just that angle of it.
Yeah. At least for them, they had an idea that at some point
Mhm.
it would widen out, I think, because they make that comment later on when they say hearing it all laid out like that, they quieted down.
Mhm.
And then as it sinks in, they start praising God, saying it's really happened. God's broken through to other nations. He's opened them up to life. There was always this idea that he was going to. I mean, it was never only Jews anyway. You had converts
Right,
to Judaism.
but if that's all they know, can't you imagine them thinking that they were really gonna be spreading a form of
Yeah,
Judaism?
that's what they thought. They thought he's
Right.
going to open it up, but once he opens it up to them, they're going to get circumcised and they're going to start not
Right.
eating bacon.
Exactly. I know, it's just funny, I don't think we've really narrowed it that way. That's interesting to think about.
What I thought was interesting is
Mhm.
God's doing something new here.
Mhm.
He's opening things up, right? That
Yeah.
verse I was looking for earlier that we were
Did you
pausing while I
find
was
it?
looking. I did find it. It's Luke 5, toward the
Okay.
end of Luke 5:36. He says, "No one cuts," this is Jesus talking, "No one cuts up a fine silk scarf to patch old work clothes. You want fabrics that match. You don't put wine or new wine in old cracked bottles. You get strong, clean bottles for your fresh vintage wine. And no one who has ever tasted fine aged wine prefers unaged wine." So it's this new wine idea. God's doing
Mhm.
something new with Jesus. And then that's continuing into Acts. It's in the church and he's opening things up and he's breaking
Mhm.
down some of their barriers, but they're not ready for it because they've got some things. I mean, at this point, you're 5 years out, probably 5, 6 years out from Jesus' ascension. So things have been going
Okay.
on a little bit. They've been starting to get used to being a Jewish church. You know, I mean, the
Okay.
Romans just looked at them as another sect of Judaism.
Okay.
They didn't think of them as like a separate religion.
Mhm.
They just thought they're a bunch of Jews with some different opinions because there were other
Right.
sects of Judaism.
I'm
That
sure.
wasn't a shocking idea to them.
Mhm.
So, but God's doing something new. And what I thought was interesting is the pattern that those people back in Jerusalem go through when this new
Mhm.
thing. So the first thing that happens when God starts doing something new is we get people that are already in the church, leaders of the church, whatever it might be, they tend to get offended.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
They resist. Yep.
Well, because they think, well, why wouldn't I have no, well, why wouldn't I been involved? Why wouldn't
Right.
God have me down there? I
Yeah.
mean, they might not say that,
Like,
you know
I'm
what I mean?
comfortable and I have this figured out for myself.
Right, like, we know how this works, so they
Mhm.
get offended, but Jesus, that he does that to everybody up on the front end.
Mhm.
He's always offending everybody on the front end, and somehow we think that once we're Christians, once we've
Mhm.
walked with Jesus for a while, Jesus is all through offending us. We got him all boxed up and tidy and good, and don't worry about it. This is how
Yeah.
he works right here. We know.
Mhm.
This is what we've seen, and
Mhm.
so we get defensive of that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
Because we've seen God work through those old wineskins, through the
Mhm.
old ways,
Mhm.
through the rosary, through the invitation at the end of it, whatever it is, the different things
Mhm.
across the different places. But
Right.
because of that, we're real hesitant to let any of those things go. And when somebody comes along who wants to try something new, we
Mhm.
don't want to try it. We're just not
Right.
interested because not very many, a lot of bad things can come from trying new things. You know what I mean?
Right. Mainly, initially, discomfort.
And a lack of control. And people really like control.
Yeah,
Churches
definitely.
especially really like
Yeah,
control. It's shocking a little bit.
they do. I have a quick question. So, do you mean to say from that passage you just read in Luke,
Mhm.
do you mean to say that Jesus is kind of like is understanding that we would prefer the old aged wine to the new wine
Well,
because
I
we
think
we tend towards the old way versus a new
yes.
way?
And well, I
Okay.
think it's as much that as we want to take what God's gonna use to take the new work that God's doing,
Mhm.
and we wanna fit it into our little boxes and our little
Okay.
wineskins that we have because we have
Okay.
these and they're comfortable and they've been with us for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, we know this really
Or
well, this
2
wineskin.
2,000 years. Right.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I
Mhm.
have a Yeti that I take with me every day to work, like, it's kind of important to me. If all of a sudden I gotta put something in a different thing, it's like, "Oh, alright."
I
I
know.
gotta get
Like,
used to
I
it a little bit,
miss my
and I'm
cup.
just
Yep.
talking about a cup. I'm
I
not
know.
talking, you know what I
I
mean?
know. I
This
know.
isn't my
It's not a belief system that you're standing on. I
People
get it.
tend to get real tied into their religion, into
Yeah.
their way of packaging Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Churches
I
especially get that way, and
I
so
hear
this
you.
they and they're I mean, the early church is as susceptible to it as anybody else, I think is what we're
Mhm.
seeing. What we're seeing in Acts is a lot of things that all kinds of churches all down through the next 2,000 years are gonna deal with in different ways.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
one of these is so they tend to object,
Okay.
but once you have to get through that offensive period, that period of offense, that period of objecting, because that's the first thing we do in our head.
Mhm.
Somebody comes to us. This doesn't even have to be religion. It could be it
Oh,
could
yeah.
be
Anything.
say, yeah, anything that you do. Say I'm a carpenter and I have a certain way that I do things, and
Mhm.
somebody comes up to me, guy who works with me,
Yep.
and says, "Hey, I think this could be faster if you do it." My first thing is to be like, I don't know why you think that'd be any like, your first thing is to be,
Right, right.
"Well, what do you mean? This is fine the way that I'm doing." And that's what we
Mhm.
all think all the time because we
Yeah.
like to be comfortable.
Mhm.
And the one thing Jesus calls us out of is comfort,
Yep.
but we still struggle with it
Mhm.
all the time, and it especially gets bad in churches.
Mhm.
Organizations, maybe I should say.
Yeah,
Maybe I should widen it out.
the institutional side is
Yeah,
kind of what you're referring to,
because
right?
they are organized. I mean, you don't have like, you think about going to a church. What
Mhm.
makes it a church? Well, it's organized. It's got a certain
Yeah.
structure. It's got a certain way that they do things,
Mhm.
you know? And they don't want that messed with. They kind of like it. They think that's the way to do
Yeah.
it. That's why they do it that way.
Mhm.
They're not
Right.
they're not they're not a research facility to come up with new ways to try things. That's
Definitely
just not
not.
what they're about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but but if you can, the problem is that a lot of times on the front end people get stuck. We
Mhm.
talk about, this could be true in grief, could be true in a lot of things. We talk about getting stuck in phases. Like, grief
Mhm.
is a process. It
Mhm.
may be a long process, could take a year or 2 to kinda move through grief. Maybe some people it takes a few months, whatever it is. Point
Mhm.
is, it's a process that's meant to be moved through. That's the same with a lot of things, but a lot of people, we like to hold on to the process.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We wanna hold on to something,
Sure.
and And I just realized this, this weekend I'm sitting here. We moved into a new place, as of course you knew,
Mhm.
and I was really distraught for years. Coming up to the idea of moving out of my old house, like I held on too long. I felt like,
Mm.
and now
Understandable.
we're sitting here,
Mhm.
right? And I'm out here, and it's Labor Day, it's gorgeous out, and it has struck me this weekend that God's like, I had this plan for you all the time. If you wouldn't
Right.
hold on so tightly to
Mhm.
everything, I could
Mhm.
move you along a lot faster. That's kind of what I felt like. He was like,
Yeah.
and I thought that's probably true. There's a
Right.
lot of truth in that. That
Mhm.
God's looking to move us on.
Mhm.
Back when I was doing the Todd Allen podcast and I did those Bible stories retold, I did the serials. I
Mhm.
did one called God Moves Us On about Samuel. And
Okay.
and it's because he's stuck grieving about Saul, and God comes to Samuel and he's like, "How long are you gonna grieve over Saul? Pack up and go anoint David." Like he's just like ready to roll. God moves on a lot faster than we do. We've talked about that
Mhm.
before.
Right.
But I think that gets multiplied in institutions and organizations.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? The layers
Yeah.
of control, the layers of structure all work against God doing a new thing. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yes, and I was gonna say too, it's funny how you talk about the speed, because there are times where we're like, "Come on, God," like, we want him to move something along
Right.
and we don't feel like he's moving along, but I think that it's a matter of putting your faith in him and trusting his process. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes
Mhm.
he's not going as fast as we but when you look back, like you're saying, sometimes we're
Dragging
the
our
ones
feet.
slowing it down, yeah, but
Like,
sometimes
"Wait, I really like that."
I know,
And
like, we
he's like,
just
"You don't understand what I got waiting."
Mhm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And that is it's something that we all run into. It's like I said, it's intensified in organizational structures. Now, I don't work for big corporations and things a lot of people do.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm sure I'd have all kinds of examples of how that's a problem.
Yes.
Part of the
I
reason
can
I don't
im
work for big
I can
places like
imagine.
that. I'm not
Yeah, I
a
can't imagine honestly, I can't imagine you working like that.
yeah.
They'd
Um,
be like, "This guy's a little disagreeable."
I think I get that. Not just from you don't have to go to a corporation to get that. I got that. This is what I wanted to tell people
Yeah.
about. So my own personal experience, right? My
Mhm.
podcast, Beers with
Yep.
Jesus, our podcast. I shouldn't say mine, but
Ooh, that's very sweet. Thank you.
so I have, and you're gonna know most of what because I talk to Carrie about things. I text Carrie during the week. We stay in pretty close track.
Yeah.
She knows what's going on,
Mhm.
and so you've known that I've had Um, I've been talking to Pastor Darrell, and he kinda challenged me, "I think you should do something live." Well, I say
Yeah.
live because we don't do this. This isn't technically live. It's live for us, but it's not when
Mhm.
people listen, like a group,
Right.
whatever it is. Anyway,
Yeah.
and I said he started this probably 3, 4 months ago, um, on me, kinda working on me,
Mhm.
and telling me that I should be doing a little more leading the group, doing something kinda local in here, not just
Yeah.
this. Anyway,
In
I felt
person.
like I'm doing this, and it's fine. But anyway, I said, "Okay, I'd be willing to do it. If you come with me and kinda co-host something, and then we can take it from there." But what I wanna try is I wanna try a Beers with Jesus style live
Mhm.
type of thing. So, basically, if you took what you and I are doing, and you had a couple
Mhm.
stools up front, and you same thing. I mean, you probably have a couple worship songs quick, strip it down, then go right to what we do. Just explore the story. Because to me, it's the story, it's the Bible that people maybe don't have a good grasp on, I don't feel like. A lot
Mhm.
of churches spend most of their time going through epistles and telling you about, the latest family series, how to raise your kids, and listen,
Mhm.
maybe all that's fine, whatever.
Right.
I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose there's a lot of people in church that don't have any kids, but whatever. You've decided that
There's usually something for everyone,
yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Point is,
Mhm.
I feel like what what we're missing is just the story. That's why we do this. I mean,
Mhm.
we're walking through the story. I have a and I think you feel this way. I feel like I have it's amazing how much better of a grasp I have on the
Oh,
story of
yeah.
Jesus after. after doing Beers with Jesus like we have for a
Yeah,
year or
I
2
love
or
it.
whatever.
I learn something every week. Just,
And we're
a
just walking through it,
perspective.
through the narrative in order,
Mhm.
just like you'd go through the Lord of the Rings. That's what I tell people. You wanna have an opinion about Frodo? Fine. Read the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Watch a movie or
definitely.
whatever, you
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
Get to know the story is the point.
Yeah.
It's not Christianity. Jesus didn't come and suffer and die just so you could raise a little better family. I'm not saying that he didn't want you to raise a good family,
Yeah.
but that
No, I hear
wasn't
you.
like it was to know him. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Totally.
So anyway, that was my thought. Now I have long been very reticent of trying to work within the structure of a church. Just
Mhm.
me and churches, we don't get along terribly well. That's been my experience.
The church corporation is not
Pope Pope Frodo isn't calling me up asking me to lead a group for him. I can tell you that.
Right. Not
Um,
on church property. No offense.
I'm dying.
Oh.
Sorry. Pope Frodo commented on one of his text posts the other day where he was going off about immigrants and how we have to, be nice to immigrants and everything. And I was like, you know what? The Vatican should lead. Tear down that wall, Pope Frodo. Last
Oh
I
my
checked, you got a
gosh.
big wall around the Vatican.
Oh, no.
You're not just letting anybody who wants come in and drive your Pope mobile. Anyway, anyway,
Hmm.
I'm just I distracted
That's okay.
by Pope Frodo. Um. So anyway,
Are you calling him that because he's little?
he's a little guy. Yeah. Maybe maybe I'm a heightist. I don't
You are really
know.
tall.
Anyway, off
So,
of the Pope. So anyway, I've always been hesitant to work with inside, try to work with the church or what. It's just never gone well. I'm
yeah.
maybe because I'm disagreeable, as you say. Maybe I'm just not I don't work within existing structures very well.
Right. You
Right?
don't go and join a small group. We've talked about that before.
No.
You don't wanna do a study with a workbook.
No. God. A
By the way,
workbook.
my workbook for the grief care is awesome.
You love it. Carrie loves workbooks.
I don't love workbooks.
I
I just
don't.
love it for this, just for this, because you can't, like, put a there's no structure to grief, and I needed something. I
Mhm.
needed a guide, so but
Understood. People like workbooks, whatever. That's the
but I
reason that
understand. I'm using it to make you laugh because I
I
know
am
you're
not
like,
I'm
"This
not
is
the
not
workbook guy.
not Todd's thing."
So
He
anyway,
says a workbook sounds like the worst.
I thought I so my position has always been, listen, the
Mhm.
church wants as little to do with me as I do with it. That's my standard answer, okay? That's
Oh my
that
gosh.
was my answer to Pastor Daryl. I said, "They don't want anything to do with me, I promise you." Well, he talks me into the fact that maybe it's worth a shot, whatever.
Okay. Mhm.
I'm like, "Okay,
Maybe.
all right, Pastor Daryl." So I approach so we kinda tighten some things up, and I approach one of the one of the pastors at the church just with an idea, and this is at our church, they're all like pro small group. Like, whatever you want to do, you want to play pickleball, you want to drink lattes together, you can make a group around that. That's
Okay.
how they present it. Whatever you want to do, right? Whatever you want
Okay.
to do. Whatever you want to do. Okay. All I want to do is talk about the Bible. But apparently there are churches that aren't big fans of that. If I had
That
wanted to
is
play pickleball, that would have been okay.
okay.
But anyway, I approach them. And I don't hear and the second I do, I see in this pastor's face, I see sheer fear and panic just come across her face, and I thought, "Oh god, this was a bad idea."
Oh, no.
Like, I knew
Oh,
it right
no.
away. I thought, "Oh, man, what have I" and so,
Hilarious.
the next I'm, like, bothered by it that day, and then the next day, I'm at work, and I'm like, "God, this everything about this is wrong." I just knew it. Everything about it
Mhm.
felt wrong.
Okay.
Next day I have Pastor Daryl over. I'm like, "Dude, this isn't right. Everything about this." I just nobody's said anything to me. Nobody's gotten
Okay.
back with me. I
Okay.
just knew. I just knew this was but then
Yep.
how much of it is me just thinking it's a bad idea on the front end, right? Because I mean,
Okay.
I'm starting there and I'm
Yeah.
trying to be sensitive to the spirit and all these things. Think, "Oh yeah, maybe Maybe the church, maybe they really mean what they say up front.
I
Nope.
am really
Nope.
proud of you, Todd. I'm really proud of you for attempting to think that
So
way.
I make the attempt.
Yeah, you did.
I bring a couple days later,
Good job.
Pastor Darrell comes over for a fire. I'm like, dude, this is wrong. And I realized it was wrong. I've been praying about it. And I realized I live right down the road from a huge state university campus
Yep.
that I graduated from. And I'm like, that's where we need to do this. Like, it was like,
Definitely.
bing, like it made sense. Right.
Yep.
So then we start looking that way. And I say to Darrell, maybe I should, uh, maybe I should email church to tell them I'm not interested. He said, let's play it. Let's let it play out. I'm like, okay, we'll let it play out. And yeah, then
Darrell might be more optimistic than I am.
then I got the email saying, thanks, but no thanks. We only do approved curriculum. We are not, we are
They didn't
not
like your free for all.
sponsoring off curriculum small groups. And I thought, wow,
Todd,
Luke isn't in their curriculum. The Gospel of Luke. What the hell?
We need to make a Beers with Jesus workbook. Then they would be okay with it.
And mind you, all I did, I sent him one link to this show, Beers with Jesus, and a little graphic I had come up with for Luke. That's all I said. That's all anybody had to work with. Nobody talked to me ever.
Okay.
It was like,
I wonder if
and
they listened.
I get an email and it's like, no, no. And you know what? The only thing that bothered me is that this email could have been written by a Christian AI bot. And I am not
it
like,
was
I don't
very canned.
speak Christianese very well. I
Oh,
don't
boy.
walk in. I
Oh,
need an
boy.
interpreter if somebody starts speaking Christianese to me. And they're like, "I love your heart." And I'm like, "Dude, you never even talked to me. How could you love my heart? None of this makes any sense to me at all." Anyway. But
Wow.
point is, what I'm dealing with is a place that doesn't they have their structures.
Yep.
They don't want change. They don't want the unfamiliar.
Mm-mm.
They want exactly what they've got. And I did not seem like someone, maybe I seemed like someone who would stretch the boundaries a little. Might push against the sides of the boxes a little.
Did you send them a link to a portion of the show where you say to delight yourselves in
Yeah, the
Todd's
delight.
world?
I sent him the T-shirt that says "Delight yourself in God's world." No, I'm just kidding. I should get that T-shirt. That's a good T-shirt. Point is.
Yeah.
God still had directed me. I knew that we were on the right track, and I knew I've had it in my mind for a while that we should have some kind of a live version of this.
Okay.
This should be chapters on every college campus. Beers with Jesus.
I like it.
And I look at it as complimentary to all the ministries that are already functioning on campuses because I think the same thing. I just think they don't know the story. We just need to ground people a little bit in the Bible and in the story and in Jesus.
Right.
That's all.
Well,
And
so that like you've said it before, so they can make an educated, they can form their opinions on Jesus and their opinions on the Bible after actually looking into it and not just assuming a lot of
that's what
things
I
and
think.
impressions
I
from
hope that we help work up the soil a little bit so that the
Right.
seeds that are planted can grow. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And granted, I'm not your typical messenger, I suppose. I
You're a
don't
fine
know.
messenger, Todd.
I don't know, Carrie. But anyway, they didn't think so. Point
Yeah,
is point
that's
is
all right.
that Peter ran into some of that resistance here.
Mhm,
Now Peter's Peter. So when Peter talks and tells them his story, they listen. To my church, I'm
mhm.
nobody. Nobody cares what I say. I'm not the next pope.
It's okay.
So
It's all right.
I'm too big to be the pope, we realized. Didn't even have outfits that work. Uh, but I don't but they get stuck in
Mhm,
that. In this church, this is a common temptation. It's not just churches, it's all of us. It can be in families. You can have families where one of your kids starts to kind of move into something that you haven't moved into before. Maybe you're this hardcore Baptist and they're moving into kind of the spirit-led things that
mhm.
Pentecostals and charismatics are more into, and
Sure.
you're really uncomfortable with all of that. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? I think the answer here is down in later in the passage when it says that there was a group in Antioch that started talking to the Greeks,
mhm.
right? Up until
Yes.
then, they're all still just talking to Jews. They're all talking to each other. Kind of like Christians today. We all like to talk to each other.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that was one of the things at our fire we were having.
Yeah.
Nikki was yelling, "We didn't want to go to Christians anyway. We want people who don't even know the story."
Oh, that's what you were saying about the church saying, "No thanks, but no thanks. We love your heart, but no thank you."
She was going off over there by the fire. It was kind of funny. It was just an
That is
entertaining.
that is funny. Aw, I love her support of you. That's so great.
It is great. But here they're talking to the Greeks. So up until then they're just
Mhm.
talking to the Jews. But then it says, um, then some of the men from Cyprus and Cyrene who had come to Antioch started talking to the Greeks, giving them the message of the Master Jesus.
Mhm.
God was pleased with what they were doing and put his stamp of approval on it.
Mhm.
And that's what I think you got to look for. I think that there are always going to be people, there are always going to be movements, whatever it is, that
Mhm.
that God's doing something new in. And the key to look for is, does God bless it? You may not see
Mhm.
it on the front end. You're
Mhm.
probably going to be offended by it on the front end, and you may oppose it on the front end. But if it starts to become obvious, like Gamaliel, was that his name? I always say his name wrong.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I
He was
remember.
like, listen, you're persecuting these disciples. If God's behind this, you don't want to fall on that side of it,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
The point is, sometimes it's best to take a step back and say, is God on this? Is God in this or not? Because I think you're going to find out pretty quick. God
Mhm.
will show his cards pretty quickly. You
Yes.
know what I mean? If he starts to bless
Mhm.
something, then you got to think maybe God's doing something new, something a little different. It's a little outside of my comfort zone. But then,
Mhm.
I mean, he's God. What else would we expect?
Right.
He doesn't. What would? How
Yeah.
could you read the story of Jesus and think, well, he came to confirm and make sure I stay right in my comfort zone?
Right. He's not gonna bow down to our expectations.
I like the
Yeah.
I like the regular traditional service, whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, we all have our own little things and we all get hung up on things and we got ways
Mhm.
that we want to do things and things that we want to do. And listen, I think it's fine. I like I said, I don't think I should be working with any church, and I don't blame any church
Mhm.
for not wanting to work with me. All
Mhm.
you got to do is turn on the wildly opinionated news hour and they're like, "Oh my God." But
Right, right.
if all they'd have been, one thing I would say to churches is be real people. If somebody had just
Yeah.
called me on the phone and been like, "Dude, have you listened to yourself? We can't be partners with you." I'd have been like, "Dude, I totally get it."
Oh, you didn't like the diplomatic, canned answers? You didn't like the
But I do think that we have to be willing to move into things
Mhm.
when God's moving us in a direction and he's going to bless it. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then you've got people like Barnabas.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
and Barnabas is just this guy that whenever you see him in scripture, he's
Mhm.
encouraging people. Like, he goes and he gets Paul and he's standing up for Paul to the other disciples. He goes here to check things out. As soon as he realizes God's in this man, he dives in and he's
Mhm.
working it. It's like they're just sensitive to God and what God's doing, and they have a sense for what God's doing now for the times. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And they encourage people, and then they'll stand alongside those people that are doing something a little new that may be making some people uncomfortable, and they're gonna stand up for them to the others and say, "Listen, this is all good. You gotta get on board." We need people like that in the church.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
Barnabas didn't write any letters in the New Testament. He didn't write
Mhm.
any epistles, but it's arguable that without Barnabas' work with Saul on the front end, we may
Mhm.
not have had any of Paul's letters. Like,
Right.
who's to know what kind of
Barnabas
an
for the
impact
assist.
you're gonna make by
Mhm.
being an encourager? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Mhm.
you're an encourager. I would say that that's one of your gifts.
Oh gosh, I get that from my mom.
And, yeah,
'Cause
your
it's
mom
her
is too.
'cause it's her number 1. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a really important gift when you got people out there doing things. Even with me doing this podcast, doing whatever, it takes forever to get any kind of traction on things.
Mhm.
And of course, there's people who have opinions and whatever. But when you have somebody in your corner like a Barnabas, like a
Mhm.
Nancy, like a Carrie, like whatever, who's encouraging you, it's
Mhm.
just massively like the person who's doing that encouraging is as responsible. That's why I say I think Barnabas is as responsible for Paul's epistles as Paul was in some ways.
Yeah, I
You know
like
what I
that.
mean?
Well, yeah, especially because it was right at the beginning,
Yeah.
after his conversion, and he wouldn't have gained any traction with anybody. He never would have been trusted, or it would have taken a really long time. Barnabas helped to close that gap.
Yeah.
Of mistrust and all of that for him when
So
he
that's
came
really
on the
important.
scene as a convert.
If you can have people in a church who are Barnabases,
Mm-hmm.
who, when the brass, of course, does what the brass does and is trying to protect the structure and protect what they built and everything and make sure this is staying, they can
Mm-hmm.
come alongside and say, hey, no, you're missing the boat here. We need to get
Yeah.
on board with this. God's going to bless it because he's opening things up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't keep your rosary or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
point is that God can do new things. He's not always, now in this case, he was
Yeah.
somewhat destroying the old law, although still, even to this day, you'll have Jews that will convert to Christians. They'll become believers in Jesus, but they'll be
Mm-hmm.
Messianic Jews. So they keep the
Mm-hmm.
Jewish part and they see Jesus as the fulfillment of the Jewish religion.
Right.
Perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Probably what most of the disciples were. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. It makes sense.
But it wasn't perfectly fine for them to take that and try to put it on the new people that God was bringing in, the new thing
Mm-hmm.
that God was doing. Don't try to pour water on that. Don't try to stifle it. You don't have to be defensive of God. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that I could. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I
Yes.
spent a lot of my life feeling like I went to Bob Jones. I went to Christian schools. I had whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a lot of the people in these institutions and places felt like they had to spend an inordinate amount of time defending God. And I felt like, you don't need to defend God. He's a lion. Just let him go. He'll be
Right.
fine.
That's interesting. That's
You know what
interesting,
I mean?
Todd. Sure.
I just don't.
Um, do you think that was because you were young, or do you think that that's
I don't
just the
even mean
approach?
just to me. I just mean in
Mm-hmm.
general. I felt like there was a lot of
That's so interesting.
and defending God meant defending our old wineskins too much of the time. It wasn't all the time,
Okay.
but too much of the time, the two were the same. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Because to
Interesting.
us, our old wineskins are God, because that's how he
Mm-hmm.
worked. And we're just too often not ready to move on into what God's doing, I think.
Right.
Any of
Yeah.
us. And then
Well,
some people are a little bit more out on the front edges and they take all the slings. And
yeah, that's
they get
true.
called disagreeable.
You know what's funny?
And
I'm gonna blow your mind with some irony here, because I'm
okay.
thinking about your gifts. You were talking about gifts. And I feel like knowing you and knowing how you look for and pay attention to where God is leading you, I'm gonna say that obedience is one of yours. And I think that a lot of people would laugh if they
They
heard
probably
that.
would laugh at that. I
They
never
would
really
laugh,
even thought of that. He's been moving
but
me in that direction.
definitely. And I'm, we're all imperfect, but I'm like, feel like that's the label I would put on you for gifts, because you're always looking for it. You're always looking for you pray and you ask to be led and you try to follow that. And I feel like that's obedience.
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Look
not
at you.
obedience when the other people want you to do it inside their boxes.
Who
They're
knew?
like,
I hope
look
all
at,
of our
we
listeners
got
were
all these
sitting
boxes
down.
set up. There's different sizes. In any box you want, just pick a box, any box. What if I don't want to be in a box? What if my
Yeah.
curriculum is the Bible? Is that too much? Yeah, because you're not one of us. We only have two people who can open up the Bible and expound it.
Right.
Okie dokie, I got you
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
I
Here's
need
the
another
curriculum.
family series.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that'll
No,
be
I mean,
different.
your box is basically every day. I feel like your box, Todd, is just God shaped. You're like, just God, what are you doing today? And how can I help do that? And
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've
I
tried to
think that
move more
that's,
into that area, but
yeah, you do. And that's not easy. It's not how most of us live. It's kind of inspiring,
yeah.
you know?
Well, I
Yeah.
felt like that more. I feel like
Mhm.
God's just like, I've got more. I've got more. I've got more. If you could just,
It's
that's
so
what I felt
cool.
like. If you could just let go and obey faster,
Yeah.
like you'll get so much further.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's good.
Because it's even been on me. this thing happened with the church. And I knew right away. I told you I knew where we were supposed to go. I knew what we were going to do. Been moving in that direction. And excited about it. Everybody's excited about it that I'm talking to. It's like, this is the right direction. And I know it is, but it still bugs me. It still bugs me when people don't get it.
Right.
It pisses me off. But then I pray about it.
Yeah.
And God's like, just let that go.
Yeah.
Who cares what they think? You don't accomplish big things worrying about little people. I know that sounds kind of bad, but that's what the Spirit said to me. I don't know.
Right. No, that's very, very true. Yeah.
Just follow.
Yes. Ideally, you following and finding some people who want to follow with you is really it's going to have more of an impact than following the curriculum. And
so I'm hoping we'll see I'll keep everybody posted on what we're going to do with kind of a live version. We're still hashing out the details, and I will say it's far more intimidating to think of trying to do something like that on a college campus than it is in like a church group where you've got like a ready-made, like we all want to hear,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got kind of an audience that's kind of ready-made when you're trying to do something in a church.
True.
When you're just out there on a campus, it's far more intimidating, but I think it's also a lot bigger need. Like Jesus talks about it being white with harvest. And I think kids today, and mind you, most of these college age kids are my kids' age, so I mean, I guess maybe I have a sensitivity towards that age because most of my kids are there right now.
Right.
And man, you see so many kids, young people suicide is up. There's just so many things.
Yeah.
All this trans stuff, all this LGBTQ. Just the world has become so confusing, so just mixed up in so many different ways. And the nice thing about Beers with Jesus is that if we can just stick to the stories, it doesn't become about a culture war. It just becomes about Jesus. And let's just see what he can do. Let's see if you just show Jesus to some kids, maybe they're not so depressed anymore.
Right.
Maybe they don't need the pills. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear that.
I don't know. I just want to see what
a good
happens
goal.
if you've got, that's what we do here is just with the Bible and just with the stories. I want to see if there's still some power just in that.
Yeah.
Without the workbook, shockingly. Without the approved curriculum. Is it possible
No
God could
workbook.
move? Is there any significance at all to the fact that the first curriculum God sent down the mountain carved in stone, Moses broke the second he got down? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe God wasn't going to, maybe at the very beginning, he was saying, I'm going to work outside of this box too, even though I just gave it to you. I don't know. Maybe.
It's possible.
Maybe it was a sign that it doesn't matter what we do. We're going to break them all. You know what I mean?
We have this curriculum.
We do. It's not approved though, where I'm at my church. Anyway, well, listen, I think we did pretty good.
I think so.
We're an hour in. We should probably, it's Labor Day. Okay. We got to get on with our lives.
Okay. We have to get on with our lives. Oh gosh. This is good stuff. I like.
What do you think, Carrie?
Yeah.
What else do you have anything that I missed? Anything? I've been talking a lot, so that's weird.
This was really good.
Never happens.
I think no, I mean, I feel like we covered it all. Peter talking about the Spirit and all that. We didn't talk about that specifically, but I feel like it's all just kind of covered in that he was just sharing this with them, and then we just see evidence of God doing something new, like you said. Doing something new culturally from multiple angles.
If we can get by the offense of God doing things in ways we aren't that comfortable with, using people that we aren't that comfortable with, basically doing what God does all through the entire Bible, then we can get on with the community grew large and strong in the Master.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Just follow God into whatever he's opening up, and he'll take care of it. He'll take care of the naysayers behind you. He'll prepare the way in front of you. Just take the step of faith, right?
Yep.
See what happens. It's all up to him anyway.
To live this way, it's a step of faith every day to live like this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. This
It's exciting. It's an adventure.
These weekly, it is an adventure, and these weekly conversations with you, like, help me look at each day like that.
Maybe it's because I had a Catholic as a co-host on my podcast. They don't like me, you think? I never
I don't
thought
know.
about that.
Maybe.
I always just thought probably you were a Christian, maybe. I'm just kidding.
I really am. Again, footnote, Catholics are Christians.
That has been fabulous to me also through this is that some of the most mature Christians I know are you and your mom and like it's been an opening up to me too.
Got
You
it.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I hear what you're saying. Speaking of that, real quick, a correction from like 2 weeks ago.
Book of Enoch, your mom told me. Is
Oh,
that what
yeah, I
it
was gonna
is?
say, yeah, it's not. Retraction. I thought the Book of Enoch. I guess Enoch is referred to.
It is referred to in Jude. I think it's referred to
Yeah.
in First Peter too. I think he refers to Enoch. So it does have some support. You're not wrong in that. There seems to be that
But
some of the New Testament writers
mhm.
gave it some street cred or whatever,
But, yeah, but it is not, even in the Catholic Bible, is not a book in the
It's
Bible.
not a
My
book in the
mom
Bible.
set me straight. I was like,
Okay.
"Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I thought it was." Yeah, my mistake.
that's okay. So the Book of Enoch, I think there's a few books on Enoch. Is
Really?
yeah, it's apocryphal, but it's not it's not recognized in the Catholic
Okay. Gotcha.
Bible either. So,
Interesting. So,
all right, guys. Well,
good
Carrie,
stuff.
thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna keep rolling. We'll be back next week. It's possible the week after we may have a week off.
Yeah.
Carrie's partying in Vegas for the week. So that's what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You're not gonna hear about it. Not like church. What happens in church doesn't stay in church. But what happens
Right.
in Vegas?
I will share what I can.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Carrie. We will be
Thank
back
you.
next week. Check out news if you haven't listened to it. All the other stuff we already talked about. I don't need to rehash it all. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And
Thanks for being here.
rate
Share
us.
with a friend.
Yeah, share us with a friend. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's exciting. All
Cool.
right, Carrie, we're off.
Have a good one.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your holiday.
Thanks. You too.
All right. See you guys.